So today we're going to take a look at what's going to happen if the Umayyad Empire reunites in the modern day. This video is going to be very unrealistic. All the events that are going to happen are purely fictional, and these borders might not be 100% accurate, but I tried my best to recreate the map. Also, alliances like NATO, CSTO, the EU or the UN, they do not exist in my videos. If they would exist, they would not let these empires to expand. And with all those things said, now let's get right into the video. Now, as we can see here, the Umayyad Empire is overly stretched. It's mostly, I guess, the Arab countries, but they also have Persia, Pakistan, and these Central Asian countries. Not to mention that al-Andalus is back, minus these northern parts of Spain. And if we were to be real, this empire would collapse in less than a month. But we don't want that to happen. Since it's their video, we want them to be prosperous, go on military campaigns, and of course expand their empire. And for those things to happen, if this empire were to reunite in the modern day, they would need a very capable leader. This is a monarchy, so the king has to be very capable. And yeah, we're also going to assume that there's going to be unity amongst all these different people who live together now. Otherwise, there would be civil wars. Those are all the things that I wanted to say. Now let's get right into the video. So the first thing that happens here is the Umayyad Empire, after improving the empire, now sends out some ultimatums. These ultimatums are sent to countries which basically got screwed by the reviving of the Umayyad Empire. These countries include Pakistan. Believe it or not, Afghanistan still exists, so does Tajikistan. And these ultimatums were sent to these countries, the countries on their eastern borders. And I'm gonna say something here which might not be 100% accurate again, but basically I think that because these countries are Muslim countries and because they've lost pretty much all of their strength, they really would actually join this empire without even fighting a war. So we're just gonna say that. And these are the new borders of the Umayyad Empire. They got a lot of land without even having to invade a country. I guess that's just because all of these countries were Muslim countries and they were in a favor of a caliphate or an empire. The Umayyads are not going to stop here. We can see that they continue sending their ultimatums, and this time they send ultimatums to Egypt, the Libyans, Algerians, as well as Moroccans, or I guess Western Sahara. And once again, all of these countries had to accept the ultimatum. Even if they did not want to join the Umayyad Empire, they kind of were scared because the Umayyad military is one of the strongest in the world. And after accepting the ultimatums, this is what the Umayyad Empire looks like right now. And I know these were not valuable lands. I guess the Egyptian Nile part was, but it still makes them look stronger and better, which of course they are by now. And after sending all of these ultimatums, they are now going to prepare themselves for military campaigns. And for that, we can see that the Umayyads are recruiting more and more troops. They're improving their military as well as their navy, because as of right now, they're touching the Atlantic, the Mediterranean, as well as the Indian Ocean. So they must have a good navy. All of this land is huge. And the first country that they want to take out is of course going to be the remaining parts of Spain. I guess maybe they were fearing another reconquista. Things used to work differently back in the day, but yeah. And Spain had no chance of winning this war. The Umayyads took over Spain in just a day. But guys, this versus just this, that's crazy. But anyways, the Umayyads are going to continue their expansion, and I did a little bit of research on the Umayyads, and I found out that they wanted to expand into Europe, not from these parts. The Byzantines were here, but they were pushing into France, and they met their defeat at the Battle of Tours and Toulouse, I think. And from that point, they were pushed back. But now, they want to revive their dream, and we can see that they are preparing for a major war. This one, of course, is going to be against France. They recruit even more and more troops, improve their military, and after years of preparations, we can see that they finally declare war on the French. And I don't know what the reaction would be of the European countries. Maybe they would help out France, but in this case, I don't think anyone would do that, because going against the Umayyads is going to basically destroy their country. And we can see that the Umayyad troops are now pushing into Spain from the southern parts, and the French are heavily outnumbered here. The Umayyads now push up without facing much resistance because, as I said, the French are heavily outnumbered. They also push in and secure the entire coastline. Corsica was taken out, and this army keeps pushing up, defeating more and more French troops, defeating more and more more French troops and winning more and more battles until finally we can see that they get to Paris. The capital city of France fell and they push up. Eventually the eastern parts go ahead and surrender. The Umayyads still continue their push, but the remaining parts of France, when they realize that they cannot win this war, just go ahead and surrender. There was no chance of winning the war against the Umayyads. And yeah, in a peace negotiation, we can see that all of France got completely annexed by the Umayyad Empire. They stepped into Europe from Spain, which we didn't cover in this video because that had already happened in the past. But now they really have stepped into Europe. They border many more countries now. And from France, they can conduct future military campaigns into the region. Not to mention that their navy is now way better than it was before. They can also go on naval invasions. But yeah, they send an ultimatum to Georgia. Georgia ceased to exist now. And now we can see that they send another ultimatum. This time they send it to Turkey. But guess what? The Turks deny. They do not accept the ultimatum here. And what is going to be the result of this denial? Well, yeah, this. The Turks are now at war with the Umayyads, who are way too strong. Their power right now is unmatched by any country which they border. They might just be stronger than the Russians now and the Chinese, although the United States might be a little stronger than these guys right now. But hey, let's see. And what can we even expect from this war? The Umayyads now start to push into Turkey. Once again, the Turks are heavily outnumbered here, and we can see that the Turks now send most of their troops to the front lines to fight back the Umayyads. With the arrival of these troops, the Umayyads are slowed down, but I don't think that the Turks should have sent these troops here, as we can see that the Umayyads make a naval landing in Gallipoli and they start to take out the nearby regions. They get to Edirne and now they're pushing towards Istanbul. They push in and eventually capture the city. This is a huge blow to the Turkish morale. The main regions of Turkey are being captured, and eventually this army now pushes in, and Ankara was taken by the Umayyads. Unfortunate news for the Turks, but yeah, after all of this chaos, we can see that the remaining parts of Turkey surrender. Turkey also got completely annexed by the Umayyad Empire, and yeah, things are going great for these guys. Although the Umayyads are now getting a lot of requests from Xinjiang. Basically, it's this region of China where there are a lot of Muslims, and they kind of want their independence. So yeah, the Umayyads are getting a lot of requests from these guys to declare war on China and then to liberate this region, but that's not going to happen right now. We can see that another ultimatum was sent. This time it was sent to Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan kind of accepted the ultimatum. They couldn't possibly win a war against these guys, as they saw Turkey and France get defeated. The Umayyads are looking huge, but still, their main goal is Europe here. I mean, it might not be their main goal, but they still want to take over these countries, and they continue their expansion. The Umayyads are now at war with the Benelux countries. We can see that they start to push in, easily capturing Brussels, after which the remaining parts of Belgium surrender. Luxembourg falls, and the same Umayyad troops now push up. The Dutch try their best to push these guys back, but eventually their entire armies are destroyed. Amsterdam was captured. The remaining parts of the Netherlands surrender. These are the new borders of Europe, and who knows, the Umayyads might want to connect their empire like this, which is a huge threat to the Italians. But guys, at this point, a major event happens. China gets informed that the Umayyads are eventually going to declare war on these guys to, take Xinjiang. And the Chinese talk with the Russians. The Russians are also pretty much afraid of these guys, as they fear that in the future, the Umayyads might want to expand up north. So yeah, we can see that after some talks, the Chinese and the Russians declare war on the Umayyads just to stop this expansion. And guess what, guys? The Umayyads had a secret ally to their back. I know, very fictional, but the United States was helping them all along for some reason, even though the Umayyads were going against their allies. But now this is the biggest opportunity. The Chinese and the Russians are pretty much the enemies of the United States. Now that they have declared war on the Umayyads, these guys are going to help out the Umayyads, which the Chinese and the Russians previously did not know. But yeah, let's see. We can see that at first, the Umayyads push in, they cut off the Chinese and the Russians in these parts, and they push into Xinjiang. They're pretty much successful in this military campaign, as they had some troops on the border and they eventually were going to take Xinjiang. They also have the support from the local populace, with which we can see that they're taking parts of Xinjiang. But over here in the west, we can see that the Russians are not pushing down, taking their own regions which were taken by the Umayyads when they revived, and they now start to push down. Eventually they get to Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, and they take it. The Umayyads have to regroup because they're getting pushed back by the Russians. But Okay, wow, this video is getting longer, which means that we're gonna need a part 2 on this video, where we're gonna see a war between the Umayyads, the Russians, and the Chinese. So yeah, this is gonna be it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me what you guys want to see in the future. And thank you for watching.